I wanted to make sure I put a little video together to talk about my video recording capabilities. As you can see from the video that you're watching today, I spend far too much time putting the camera in the wrong place, recording the back of my shirt, my elbow, and my arm. I hope to improve on this, but for the meantime, please be patient. Thank you. The process that I go through when I record the videos requires me to turn on the external microphone on the video camera. Obviously, I didn't do that when I put this particular part of the video together. So I'm just going to narrate here for a few minutes while this is speeded up. This is a wedgie sled and a wedgie sled stop. Basically, this is of Jerry Bennett's design. I've adapted it a little bit. I'm going through my process. Right here, I have the printed out instructions for the wedges that I need to, the segments that I need to cut on my table saw. I'm going through and doing the measurement and the setup. The paper that you see on top of the table saw is a printout of Woodturner Pro, which is the software I use to help design my segmented bowls. And what this video is going to do is show the actual process I go through when this is being cut. So I'm going to let this run on and I will make comments along the way. What I've done is I've cut a test piece, taken it over, measured it, checked it against the dimensions, and now I'm going to run through there and finish doing my setup and my change to make sure that the outside segment length is set up properly. After cutting another test piece, I take another measurement on it, check it against the size that it's supposed to be, and then make adjustments to the sled. Actually making adjustments to the stop on the sled. I have marked my first piece that I'm going to cut. Now I'm going through the process of cutting 16 segments. This is a 16 segment ring. Still adjusting the length on the individual segments. This is one of the areas that I need to improve on, so I only have to set this once and not have to go through 2 or 3 different adjustments, setting my stop that's on the other side of the saw blade. One more adjustment, doing a check with the calipers. Now making a fine-tuning adjustment on the stop. Cut another test piece. Again, this is a sped up video, so saw blade is stopping before I pick up the piece. One thing I should mention is if you set this wedgie sled up and the stop that's on the other side, be absolutely certain that the front face of the stop is at 90 degrees to the sled, I found partway through my process it wasn't. It was giving me some inconsistent results. I later corrected it. This is a 16 segment ring, so I have some more segments to cut. I ran out of the board making test pieces, so now I have to take my walnut, cut another length of walnut so that I have 16 segments when I finish. I have two boards. I'm putting the wavy line on the front, straight line on the back. This is simply to keep track of the positioning of the segments when I put them in a ring. In later videos, you'll see where I've made some more modifications to my wedgie sled and put some vertical toggle clamps on to assist in holding the wood while cutting it. Another point I might make is that I have ordered a new zero insert throat for the saw stop. During this video, it had not come yet. I will be cutting that once it's received and putting a wooden rail on it so that I can cut all 16 pieces at once without having to stop after I cut two segments. This is the process that I first started out with. It's a standard glue up process that's been used and shown by many people. Gluing segments 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, and so forth. Then gluing them into 4 different sections, and then 2 different halves, and then 1 ring. While this process works okay, it does not work as good as it should with a wedgie sled. After I had done this portion of the bowl, and was getting ready to remake the bowl properly, I found some other improvements, and so therefore I've speeded up this video. I've gone ahead and left it in here to show the process I'm going through, and when you watch the process later on where I'm actually cutting the segments and doing one glue up of all 16 segments at once, it makes a lot more sense. Hope you understand. Thank you. Good afternoon. I just wanted to put this little tidbit in here. This is my first attempt at doing segmented rings using the wedgie sled and the techniques shown by Jerry Bennett. And while it was somewhat successful, it wasn't fully successful. So you will find that I'm going to put a second video together and a second set of information on how I improved both the wedgie sled and my gluing technique. I hope that helps out, and we'll see how the improvements go as we move down the road. Thank you very much. Okay, I touched these up a little bit, made them flat. Should be enough. Get a good mixture of glue on both sides. Pull that together. Put my piece of tie wrap on there, as centered as possible. Looks pretty good. My fingers are not real strong. Tie wraps are cheap. Looks pretty good. Let that dry up. Next stop, lunch, then the drum sander. Then we'll be ready to decide what the top piece is going to look like, cut that out, glue it, and then start the glue up process. Cap on, everything's clean. Lunchtime. Well, lunch is over. Come back, rings all glued up, all dried. Looks pretty good. Not great. There's a space down here, but a lot of that's going to be turned away. So I'm pretty happy with what transpired. So this is what the ring looks like at the moment, both sides, and there is a bit of a gap over here. I wish I would have seen that and taken care of it, but it's a gap on the bottom and not on the top. It's because of a sanding problem, namely me. Learning all the way. That's what the process is here. So I'm going to set up the drum sander. I'm going to put this in it and clean it up. My walnut base has been in the clamps now for a couple hours. So I'll bring this piece over. Right now it's not square, but it's not important that it's square because this will be cut down to a closer to the size I'm going to use on the base, and then I'll run it through the bandsaw and cut off the edges. Main thing I'm going to do now is run it through the drum sander, clean up both sides, get it to where it looks pretty good. So off to the drum sander. Well, this is my first attempt at a glue block. I took my chuck off, put a faceplate on, centered the faceplate up on my glue block / waste block, which is a piece of cedar that I have. And then to it, I have a 1/2 inch thick walnut bottom piece for my segmented bowl. What I did is I held it up against there with the tailstock, put a pencil on it. I put a pencil on it, turned the circle on the back of the walnut so I would know where to apply the glue. I got a little piece of extra piece of walnut I have to support the sail stock so I could get the pressure on it. Lined up, applied the glue to both sides, lined up these two pieces, dropped that piece in, put some pressure on it so it would hold steady, made sure that I had a good glue squeeze out on 360-degree circumference of that, and then tightened up the tailstock so that it would apply good solid pressure all the way around. I'd get a good glue job on this. And given where we're at, it's about 20 minutes to 12, so it's close to lunchtime. Good time to break. This is gluing up over here on my bench. Where the flashlight on the little top is sitting is my feature ring or top ring. I shouldn't say feature ring, it's a top ring for my segmented bowl. It's drying. The other pieces to my bowl have already been glued up and are dry and sanded down. So by the sometime this afternoon, I should have all the pieces sanded, and I can start gluing up my segmented rings on my bowl and my faceplate. Okay, welcome back. We're going to go to the next step now. Turn my screen around so I can see what I'm doing. We're going to do the next step now. We've got the base glued on. I'm going to go ahead and turn it down and turn it fully round. It's just cut off the bandsaw at the moment. This looks like it's glued up pretty well. Should be pretty well dry. If I can get the right tool. one of the things that is going to happen here is I'm going to have a series of firsts, since I'm beginner slash intermediate in some areas. Some of them are small, some of them are not. This one's a pretty small one, but it is a first. This is the first time I'm turning anything off of a glue block. So I'm not going to put a lot of pressure on it, and I'm definitely going to learn from this experience. And again, I'm just trying to make this basically round and get it ready for the next stage of gluing. The bad and the ugly. Oh, really bad tear out on the end grain where I had that catch. I'm going to wind up having to take that down further. Not looking good at all. Nothing too exciting, just doing some glue up. I'm going to put my second segment up on the base unit. It's about the same size. I'd rather turn them together than turn them separately. So I've got glue on the bottom of my bottom piece, bottom ring number 1. I'm putting glue on the next one. That's pretty good. Get this out of the way. My little homemade device put on. Pretty close. Get a decent amount of pressure on that. Check my squeeze out. Remove some of the excess. I'll let that set about a half hour or so. I really want to make sure I get a good, solid, even squeeze on that piece, which it is. Make sure that I get this focused in right. A good line of glue and an even squeeze from my outer block. Again, this piece right here is simply a piece of walnut, scrap walnut that I have left over. So I'm just using it as my tail stock and using the press on it. Everything looks pretty good. I'm getting a decent line of squeeze out and glue around the piece. Clean a little extra up, just don't need it. Part of my learning, this is definitely part of it, is just getting experience with the gluing techniques, what works, what doesn't work, how much glue to put on. I put far too much glue in the cup, but that can be thrown away, that's not a problem. And I'm just going to go ahead and let that set up. I don't care that little gap that I have right there, but this is going to be turned down probably another 1/4 of an inch or so. So I think I'll probably add a little. Probably not the best technique in the world. Again, in the process of learning. Alright, I'm going to let that set for a while. I'm going to clean up. Not much else I can do with the segments, and there's no sense hurrying this. Alright, I'm going to continue the glue up with the segmented bowl this afternoon. I've got all of the rings in except the top ring, which is walnut. I'm going to take the my glue board pressure plate off. Put the glue on, position the last board, and let it set. I wouldn't say it's great. I got one ring here that just did not get on quite as good. It'll be turned out. I have the lines lined up pretty well, not bad at all. I'm really surprised at that. So the last piece is my walnut top ring. Should have done the rest of the rings that well. Lines up pretty well, not exact. So with this sitting here in the background, gluing up, let me take a few minutes and make some comments about what I've found out so far. Preparation is everything, and I mean that sincerely. I was fairly prepared, but not all the way prepared. Part of it is just simply due to this is the first time I've done a segmented bowl, and the first time I've gone through the entire process start to finish. Obviously we're not finished yet. We're finished with the base manufacturing, what I would suspect. Put all the parts together, make sure it functions, turns pretty well on the lathe without too much out of balance. The segments are lined up like they're supposed to be. All that's pretty close. My clamping mechanism that I have on the lathe is okay, but I'm going to build myself one where I can do it on the bench. I think I'll have a lot better luck lining everything up. It's just too hard to see to make sure everything is lined up circularly and all the way around. It works okay for the first time. For some pieces it may be fine, but what I'm trying to do with the segmented bowls is have some precision. And I think I'm going to get better provision building myself a draw tight type of jig. I have a couple of threaded rods over there. The nuts and the washers that go with them, I just got to put some good plywood together so I can have enough thickness. Put the rods in, mount them up. Have a top rod that will tighten down on the bowls. Put an even pressure on. That'll give me a chance to really put the rings on like I'm supposed to. Make sure that they're centered well and everything else. One of the other things I learned is if you'll take a look at the if you take a look right here at the base, I have the base at about 5 inches or so, I believe is what the distance is. My first ring turned out to be almost the same size. That was just a mistake. The bottom piece is flat. This is the first segmented ring. I plan on turning the bottom piece in a little bit further, but this first ring should have been about half again the size. I have too big of a gap between the first ring and the second ring. Between the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth ring, there's a more reasonable gap. The top ring's got a decent gap on it. These gaps are too close together. I was a little worried with the software package, Woodturner Pro software package I have, that I wasn't leaving enough overlap in the rings. It shows you a view of that. I think I messed up on that part. But again, that's learning the software and the application, taking the process all the way through. So I'm pretty happy with the process I've made so far. I certainly know where I need some improvements on. This thing will glue up for at least another 45 minutes or an hour before it will be what I would call potentially ready. But given what I need to do next on it and what I'm going to do, it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm probably going to let this set till at least this evening, probably all the way through tomorrow. I want to make sure that it's nice and glued and dried, and that there's no problems with this. I'm still walking before I run, and I got to make sure that my gouge is all sharpened up and I got the right one going. I think this will be the first time I use my big gouge. Because when I'm dealing with shaping the bowl, not finishing it, but shaping the bowl, I want to make sure that I have a nice sturdy piece of tool with me. So for right now, we're just going to let it glue up, and when I get ready to take it down and start turning, we'll be back with the camera again. Thank you. Well, I thought I would record a little summary from the first bowl segment video. I continued on, let that bowl dry up, and then went out there in the evening, couldn't resist it, and started turning it. It turned out okay, but I ran into a major problem. Actually, 2 major problems. First major problem is that top walnut ring that I glued on just simply was not aligned properly, and I wound up turning it off completely. It just didn't work. My mistake, my problem. Second item, which turned out to be the problem that made me stop turning on that bowl, is when I was shaping the bowl and bringing the segments into alignment, a small crack, about that big, as I was making progress into the segmented rings, appeared. Small crack like that, not going to worry about. I'll fill it in, do that. The more I turned into the bowl, reducing the actual points on the segments and making it smooth, that crack went from here to here to here to about that long. When that happened, I was really concerned. So I stopped, put the light inside the bowl, took a close look at it, and found that that crack was not only visible on the outside, it was visible inside the bowl. The problem that I had with that is even though all of those pieces went through the drum sander, what I didn't do, and this was a big process point for me, is once I believed I had that piece flat, I should have taken my pencil, scratched a light pencil ring all the way around both sides of it, run it through the drum sander one more time to make sure that it was level. There was a depression in the wood that I couldn't see when I was just flattening the bowl by itself and putting it on a flat surface to look at. If I would have used the pencil marks on the ring trick and then run it through the drum sander, I would have seen that it had a problem and needed to come down flatter. All in all, there was just too many gaps in the glue up. I was afraid that the bowl was going to fly apart when I went to turn the inside of it, and I just was not willing to take that risk. So what I did was I stopped, started over, redesigned the bowl slightly, added a few rings to it, cut and built the new rings, glued it up, and the next video in this series will show the shaping of the bowl, the finishing of the bowl, and how the bowl actually finished. That will be technically bowl number 2, but it's still really bowl number 1 with a stop. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like, thumbs up. If you'd like more information like this and to follow me, I really suggest you subscribe. And thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you got something out of it. All for now. Thank you.